that in cultural imagination, Ruchika, the point he's made is that in popular and cultural imagination, until recently, we've just had a movie come out on the Cholas, until recently, your big epic movies, your big epic theater, your big epic sort of cultural references were all, he argues, about centered around the Mughals. Romance, kings, epics. We haven't, he says, seen that apply to other dynasties that were also important sort of epochs in the history of India.
Actually, this is happening right now. There are movies on Prithviraj Chauhan. There is a movie on Tanaji. So I wouldn't say that this is just something which is only restricted to Mughals. In fact, popular culture is a very good metric for this, Barkha, and also shows how the narrative is actually constantly shifting, starting from a Mughal-e-Azam, where Akbar was depicted the way he was, and which was a decent enough depiction of somebody who's, a person and also a king, to moving towards Prithviraj Chauhan, where the movie constantly talks about a Hindu-Muslim divide, which at that point of time possibly is even unthinkable of and is very historical, right? So I would think that the way the movie was made, the Mughal-e-Azam, and the way the Prithviraj Chauhan movie is made is actually quite different, and that in itself should tell you how much the narrative is polarized over the years. If anything, it actually goes to prove my point that the demonization of the Mughals and of by that the extension of the the Muslim rulers, so to speak, has only increased with time, and that is also now being reflected in the NCERT textbooks.
Okay, Shantanu, briefly, I'll just allow you to rebut that, and then PKD and General Shah can have the last words. Shantanu, we
I
just
think
lost
she
General
agreed.
Shah, but Shantanu, yeah,
I think
Shantanu.
she agreed herself that before 2014, it was largely movies around Aurangzebs and Jodha Akbars, and now finally Tanajis and other movies are getting made. So thank you, Ruchika, for agreeing.
Okay,
There
General
is
Shah,
no
last
movie on
thoughts.
Aurangzeb. There is no movie on Aurangzeb. I have never
Okay,
seen one.
you're missing that. I'm sure someone will make that soon.
Okay, General Shah, last thoughts. General Shah.
Great influence on interpersonal relationship. In the 60s and 70s, there were a lot of Muslim socials and movies on Mughals and such things, and they led to a lot of unanimity. I mean, closeness between various people. They were not divisive. I have a sister-in-law who's an Egyptian, and she saw the movies of recent times, and she asked me a very relevant question: why are the crooks, the smugglers, the terrorists all wearing beards and called Abdul and Kareem and such things?
But still,
Aren't
there's
there?
also Pathan. There's also Pathan, which has been a super hit. There's also
No,
Pathan.
that is a super hit because people wanted it to face the way some other movies had gone, but it backfired, and people wanted to see a good movie. And it's about a nationalist Muslim who doesn't declare what he is and doesn't wear it on his sleeve. At the moment, I'm afraid there's a large number of Hindi movies which are coming up, which are extremely divisive, and they are creating enmity between sections of people. We are one nation, as I said in the India Today conclave. We have five fingers of the hand: the Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, and Parsis. Five fingers of the hand, and if an attempt is made to injure one finger, the hand cannot be clenched into a fist. I would say that the present attempt to alter history is being assumed by Muslims as an attack on them.
Shantanu, please do go ahead. And you're just unmute yourself, Shantanu. You're on mute at your end. Shantanu.
I think, Barkha, in the start of your program, you already tried to break this rumor or a lie that's been getting spread that Mughal history is removed. And as I think Lieutenant General quoted, NCRT's director Dinesh Saklaniji already clarified that they have rationalized, right? And I use the word rationalized in a very rationalized format. So what they did, if one chapter or one topic is repeating multiple times in class 8, class 9, class 10, then one appropriate moment, either in class 8 or class 10, they've removed it or reduced it. That's the only exercise so that they can rationalize. This activity is done multiple times in NCRT, multiple times every decade they do it. There's an expert committee, advisory board who does it. It's not that Mr. Saklani's cutting and noting the books alone. So there's a whole expert committee, and there are minutes of meeting. All is documented. Why there's some things removed. There are many other topics which are got removed. Let's say I'm reading the newspaper. The emergency topic is also rationalized. That way, if you see that for the current dispensation, knowing more about the emergency is good for the current dispensation, because there was a black chapter on the other dispensation on the Congress side, right? So a lot of such things are removed, in which Mughal history is also removed in some part, as we are hearing.
One thing we haven't spoken about, though we touched upon it briefly, that the media reports do suggest that there's a line and a reference to Mahatma Gandhi that has also been excised. And this was the front page of the Indian Express today. Gandhi's pursuit of Hindu-Muslim unity provoked Hindu extremists. RSS was banned for some time. This line, according to the Indian Express and other reports, is among those that has been rationalized, purged, call it what you will. Mridula, do go ahead.
Well, I think that's self-evident, right? When you read out that line. And in fact, in the para just above that, which you showed on your screen, there are
Yeah,
another
we can bring it up again. Yeah, go ahead.
there are another 5 or 6 lines which have been also deleted before that, which in fact talk about how they were that Gandhiji was trying for Hindu-Muslim unity, and extremists on both sides were not happy, and so there's a lot more detail about preceding his assassination, which actually talks about the atmosphere and how the assassination occurred. So there's an attempt to downplay, to remove the details which are not palatable. There's clearly an attempt to remove the name of the RSS.
Nambia, last word to you.
Well, there
I
are
think-
two things. There are two elements. One is that what the General Saab said, that one is altering the history or correcting the history. I think let the experts decide on that with regard to the textbooks, whether it is are they altering it or are they correcting it. The number two part is that the other historian said is about the modern history. Let's talk about the modern history only. Only just two instances I will speak. One is the Popular Rebellion or the Malabar Rebellion, whatever you call it. Like it is in 1921. Tell me how many Hindus, including the pregnant woman to the kids, were butchered, and they have been treated as the freedom fighters. Now, if that is the history I wanted to learn, I would rather tell my daughter that tear that textbook and say namaste to the education.